Alafia, I'm Philip John Nymark, the founder of the IFA Foundation International. I'd like to welcome you to the first iteration of the weekly Ifascope for the month of February 2014. Well, how shall I say this? The streak is over. After 3 or 4 consecutive weeks of good fortune and being on path, we have hit a bump in the road. But it's not a bump that can't be overcome. It's not a bump for which there is no solution. It's a bump for which there is indeed a solution. And of course, it's based upon your willingness to listen to what Arumula says to me. And that basically, in this iteration, is how you can respond to the events of your everyday life with the best possible results. So when we do individual divination, we can pinpoint those individual results. But here, where we do this at no cost to the public as a way of introducing them to Ifa, something I've been doing for 35 or 40 years, it's done in a slightly different fashion. It's done by asking Arumula, who has tens and hundreds of thousands of observations of how people with all kinds of input, with all kinds of things which came up in their lives, must handle these situations in order to maximize the results. We tend, by the way, to fall into patterns. It's very interesting. Some of us are aggressive, some of us assertive, some of us are shy, some of us, don't want confrontation. Some of us do want confrontation. Some of us, whatever. And we find that we begin to react in a way that duplicates our comfort level. And while that might work for 1 out of 4 or 5, divinations or things which occurred, it simply cannot be the best possible approach. The best possible approach, of course, is for Arumula to tell me, to tell you, just what it is you need to be reacting to, how you need to be reacting to it, and for you to watch your results improve, for you to watch a situation which perhaps could be, as in this instance, EB or off path, to a situation that is on path, is right here, and can produce great things for you and your family. At any rate, this week, the Odu was Idi Osa. That's very interesting Odu because Idi is Oshun's basic Odu and calls for joy, exploration, sensuality. It's all good things, all right? But it's expressing them, it's going after them. And on the emotional, spiritual side, it is sudden positive change, affording you the opportunity of perhaps better results in your life, or changing situations which are not favorable to you. Either way, we didn't get it. We ended up like this instead of like this. So let's see why. Basically, there were 2 things. 1, we were not showing our joy, and 2, we were not doing our work. A really bad combination. And the result of that is that it's very likely, if left untouched, that this Odu is going to respond by giving you negative values in your areas of success in the coming week. And that's indicated by Irete Ed. Irete is pressures of everyday work. If you're a civilian, if you're a priest, it's about doing your everyday work. And emotionally and spiritually, it's about expressing those traits of ED again. It's about having the joy, having the excitement each day. An ED and a Shun, they love everything except criticism. Forgive me. But basically, they love good food, they love good drink, they love beautiful clothing, they love children, they love money, and those are the things that they work with. But for some reason, we have trouble with it this week. And we shouldn't have any trouble with it this week. And indeed, the best energy is to take and use the opportunities that exist, which we're not paying attention to in our everyday side, along with that ED energy, interestingly enough, on the emotional spiritual side, and that takes this kind of configuration and puts it right here. That's where we want it to be. So, who do we go to? Well, you'd think it would be Oshun, but it's not. It's Ogun. Now, how does that make any sense? Well, it does make sense because it's telling us that we have to buckle down to the work that we're not doing. It's not a time, unfortunately, where we can go play with our friends or, do nothing and, watch things get even worse. It's a time where there are things which are occurring, and we must confront those things, whatever they may be. They'll be vastly different for different people. But each and every one of them will require your attention. And in giving them your attention, things get a great deal better. And I know that because the offering to Ogun is different in that very seldom do we find liquor as a way of rewarding or offering something to the Orisha to reverse negative fortune. It's generally a celebration. It's generally for the good things that will happen. But here, it's liquor to Ogun. So what we have is the indication that we need to do our everyday work. We need to stay buckled down to it. But at the same time, we need to relax and enjoy and wait for all of the wonderful things that can happen to us. Until next week, forgive me, it's any liquor that you like. It could be vodka, it could be gin, it could be wine, it could be whatever. With the candle, place it in front of Ogun, or use it, whatever you use for Ogun, place it there, and pray to Ogun to give you those attributes, that ability to hone in, to ignore other people's behavior, to concentrate on getting things done, and yet to have a very good time doing it. And by the way, somebody called and they asked me, would I mention what we do with the offerings once they're old? Well, an offering should never get old. That's the basic ingredient that you're working with. The offering needs to be fresh. Well, with liquor, it'll simply evaporate, so don't worry about it. But was it food or was it something else? You keep an eye on it, and if you see it going bad, you toss it out. And that is because offerings will vary. They'll give you an indication of what's happening. I mean, I have offered, fresh flowers, and I've seen them die in 15 minutes. And I've offered a watermelon and seen it lay there for 4.5 months. So it's an indication, a barometer of how it took care of things and how we must take care of things. Until next time, love and blessings.